Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive in 5 podcast. Now, I know that COVID was stressful for everyone, and to be honest, when I look back at the pandemic, it was in many ways a really nice time for me. Like, the weather was glorious. You wouldn't know it today when I'm recording this episode and it's chucking it down with rain, but the weather was glorious, wasn't it? We had that beautiful summer that just went on forever. I moved back in with my parents, so I was around people. I was in a nice part of the world. I had just started a new job. I actually started a new job the day lockdown started, so that was great. But I also, over the course of the kind of lockdowns, I started my coaching business. I think COVID for me was probably the beginning of me moving away from, well, it was the start of me moving away from banking and into coaching. It was something that I'd thought about for a little while, but it was kind of the catalyst for making that happen. For a lot of people, it was awful, and it's only really looking back now that we can see how bad it really was. But for me, it was the making of a lot of what I do now, and I have to be very grateful for that. But it was also very stressful, and a lot of that stress was entirely of my own making. And that's what I want to talk about today, how I took a stressful time and made it 1,000 times worse just in the way that I handled it. Because I am someone who likes to know things. When I was little, my parents used to call me the mine of useless information. Like, when I was 5 or 6, my parents would go and do pub quizzes and just take me along because I was just really good at trivia. I knew answers to things. I was a dork, basically, because I love knowing stuff. I always have done. I've always liked knowledge. I've liked information. I've liked facts. I like answers. I love solving puzzles. I am really, really bad at cliffhangers. If a TV show ends on a cliffhanger, I will obsess about theories until we get to the next episode. I really struggle to dip in and out of a book. If I start a book, I just have to keep reading it because I want to know how it ends. I look back now and I can't figure out how I coped with the Harry Potter books coming out with 2 or 3 year intervals, because I had to know what happened next. I had to know. And that's always how I've been. I've always been someone who likes answers. I don't like uncertainty. If I go on holiday, I plan everything within an inch of its life. I'll work out where the hire car place is in relation to the checkout at the airport because I like to know the answer. I will work out all the restaurants in the area. I'll go on Google Maps on Street View and look around and see how it looks. I have to know. I am a nerd. I will read 5,000 reviews of something before I book it. That's just how I am. And for me, COVID was really hard because it was so uncertain. Looking back now at that first lockdown, now we're 5 years on, and I feel like we've all kind of processed it a little bit. It was the whole world just stopped. Everything we knew changed like that. In one moment, everything that we knew about the world changed. And I hated not knowing what would happen next. I remember when the first lockdown was announced and they said it was going to be 3 weeks. And I was sitting there, I was saying to everybody, what's going to be 3 weeks, right? In 3 weeks we'll be back to normal, or 3 weeks we'll be back to normal. And I just wanted to know. We also, what added to the stress was we had just put an offer in on a house, the week before lockdown. And obviously the whole housing market stopped. So I didn't know what was happening, what was happening with my mortgage. I had no idea what was going on. And I hated it. I felt it so uncertain. When would I be able to move back to my home and actually then move house? When was I going to be able to go back to the office? Would I ever go back to the office? I was really scared of the illness, having a little bit of health anxiety at the time. I'm a lot better now, but I did not like the idea of getting this illness. It was terrifying at the time. I was scared of what would happen. And for me, I felt like knowledge was the key. So I got completely obsessed with the news. I watched everything, every press conference, every update. I refreshed BBC News and social media constantly. I read every article I could find, even the really dense ones that were really sciencey. I would talk to everybody about what I thought would happen next. We'd get on calls for work and I'd be kind of on the call going do you know anything? Obviously no one knew anything, but I was almost like a detective trying to piece together clues, because at the time I thought that was helpful. I thought that if I knew more, if I could understand it fully, somehow I'd be in control of it. If I had enough knowledge, then I could control the situation. But spoiler alert, that's not how stress works. I see this a lot in the women that I work with in the TFP. We are women who are used to solving problems. We're used to being able to go out, do things and get it done. We're used to being successful. We're used to knowing the answers, to making a plan, to staying on top of things. So when things feel uncertain or scary, our instinct is to go deeper into thinking, into research, into understanding, into knowledge. I look at what's going on in the world right now, and I know that I'm talking to clients about this, that people are going, I'm just going to keep checking the news, I'll keep checking the updates, I'll keep listening to stuff, I'll keep reading about it. That doesn't make it less stressful. Sometimes it actually makes it worse because, and this is a mantra that I've taken since then, knowledge is not control. And in a situation like that, like COVID, like now with everything going on in the world, like, to be honest, the world ever since the early 2000s, the question we should be asking ourselves isn't what do I know? It's can I control this? Because if the answer is no, that's where you need to step back and give yourself some space. I couldn't control what Matt Hancock did. Neither apparently could Matt Hancock, but that's a whole different story. But I could control how I showed up. I could control how I took care of myself. I could control how much I consumed of that stuff and how much that added to my stress levels. The situation I was in was super stressful because I made it stressful. Me trying to know everything about it made it stressful. In reality, like, yes, it's stressful right now, but trying to control every single thing that's going on only makes that worse. So if you're the kind of person who tries to think their way out of stress or out of any problem, to be honest, this one is for you. Your brain is brilliant, but it is not a shield from uncertainty. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about actually how you can manage stress better than just trying to control everything, because heads up, being a control freak doesn't make your life less stressful, it makes it more stressful. Make sure you're subscribed so you can listen to that episode tomorrow. And if this resonated with you or made you realise that you do this too, send it to a friend who is the same, because you're definitely not alone. Overthinkers United, that is us. I will speak to you tomorrow.